Hi guys, Dave from Sakuma, back on Chesil, having a go for a cod, because it's that just coming into autumn time now, September. You can see behind us the water's like chocolate, so it's had a good blow, which is really important to get those cod in feeding. We've come up to the right hand side of Abbotsbury today, just because there's a little bit of ground that runs through here in Bexington where the clay is, that we've always got the chance of picking up a sole in daylight while the water's coloured as well. There has been one or two codling coming out. We've got a decent tide. We're going to fish it over low water as well, which is one of my favourites. I think when the colour's just starting to drop out, fishing over low means that it just holds that colour, because occasionally on a big tide like we've got now, as it comes up, the colour can drop out of it. So we've got some good bait, the conditions are right, there's a little bit of weed around, but it's not too much of a problem at the minute, so fingers crossed we'll get one or two. Right, Chesil cod fishing is pretty simple as far as rigs go, nothing too complicated. So for me, I just use a pulley rig. I know people use up and overs and all that malarkey, but in fairness, they all pretty much present the same way, with a bait on the bottom once there's a bit of bow in your line and a bit of tide. There's always a bit of, I see a lot of stuff on social media and different videos and things about pulley rigs, saying that you've got to use, you know, 150 pound, I've seen people using 200 pound rig bodies and 150 pound hook legs, which is completely unnecessary, to be honest. I'll just show you my pulley rig, because it is simplicity itself, and you'll be able to see why you don't need that heavy rig body. So obviously 6 ounce breakaway impact lead. I take the cap off mine because I just think a bigger bait sits a little bit better behind it. That's just me. Lead link, I use 70 pound rig body, and then simply that comes up to 2 100 swivels. Obviously the top one slides up and down because that's what gives you your pulley, and that's attached. Then my hook length's attached to that swivel. Now today, because we're using, I've got some live blacks, which I'll just show you. So they're big old baits, big old worms. So for me to actually get 3 or 4 on a hook, and even 4 or 5 if I want to fish a big bait, if I was to fish a pennel, my top hook of my pennel would probably be something like 12 inches away. So what I do is I just fish a single 4-0, that's a Manta Extra on the bottom, 30 pound hook length, and that means I can get 3 or 4 worms up on there, and it just presents a little bit better without that top pennel hook being too far out of the way, in my opinion. But when you tie your pulleys, and I think this is where the confusion comes about needing heavier lines, is once that's actually hooked on, if you look at the top of the rig, there's only ever such a slight bit of movement, so that just sits off it a touch. Now what that means is when I cast, obviously if that rig body stretches, it can only go as far as that swivel. So I've cast pulley rigs with 15 pound line as a hook length before, because it can only go as far as that swivel, so you're not actually putting any pressure on the hook length at all. So if you're still unsure, then you know, using heavy hook lengths is up to you, but for me personally, I just think presentation is a little bit better with a 70 pound body and a 30 or 40 or even 25 pound, depending on what you're fishing for, hook length. So we'll bait this one up, and I really do think that all you need for Chesil is pulley rigs, to be honest. So we've got our blacks, which I went out and got this morning. So I take the tail off, because obviously there's 0 scent in that at all. And then what we'll do, we'll thread them on tail first. I've always done this with my lugworm, and I actually do it with my ragworm now, to be fair, because the scents, you know, the juicy bits at the bottom as such. So we'll thread him on. It doesn't really matter too much if you come out of the body of the worm, because you can see they've got so much juice in them, and it actually means it's a slightly neater bait to cast. So we'll thread another couple on. So again, break the tail off, thread them all the way through. The only downside is you do end up with yellow hands. But there's a few different ways of fishing blacks. Obviously a lot of the time when you buy them in the tackle shops, they're gutted, which are absolutely fine. But for me personally, I'd rather get my blacks at least sort of 3 days old, really, because if they're gutted, you're relying on that worm starting to decay to actually get a bit of scent out of it. So with these, it's a bit different with the live ones, obviously, because we haven't gutted them and removed all that juice. They've still got that juice inside. So that gives us a nice bait with plenty of scent. So if you can imagine, if I wanted to put another hook on, my pennel rig, my pennel hook would be so far away from that bottom hook, I don't actually think it would do anything. But you can see the scent literally oozing out of there. So we'll clip that one on and then we'll give it a whack. Right, so obviously that's the rig that we're going to try for the codling for. So we're just fishing, just like I say, normal pulley rig that I ran you through. But the other rig I'm going to try and use today, because we're in an area of Chesil where we can actually reach that clay, there's always a chance of a sole, maybe a dab, and we've still got the chance of picking up a codling on this rig. But this is my sole rig as such, because I love catching sole, and it's a great time of year to have a go now. Now the biggest difference with the sole rigs over my normal Chesil rigs is how short they are. So I'm using size 2s. I would normally use size 4s for sole, but because of the size of the worms we've got, and I don't want those worms to slip off the bend, I'm actually going to fish a 2. So there's nothing fancy about this. It's literally just a 3-hook clip down rig. Again, it clips down to an impact lead, 70-pound body. I like quite thick snoods for my sole rigs because in my mind it keeps everything pinned to the ground. Obviously those sole, I've spoken to divers before that have shore dive Chesil, and down this end and running through Bexington and Cogden, they actually say that on the bottom, when you get out to where that clay bed is, it's like a layer of silt and clay, and those sole actually sit in it. Same with most of the flatfish, to be fair. So my idea, obviously the short snoods, make sure that those baits are pinned into that where they're going to be sitting and where they're going to be feeding. So fairly short snoods, I'd say, what are they, probably 10 inches, something like that, 8 to 10 inches. Nothing fancy. Obviously got the bait stops on there like I always do. Mine are crimped, so you can adjust those up and down, because obviously with a clip down rig, if you imagine when it's clipped down and it's going out to sea, it wants to force that bait up the snood. So having those bait stops just ensures that your bait stays round the bend of the hook, which is really important. So that's our sole rig. We're going to use exactly the same baits. I'm just going to put one black on each hook because you don't need a big bait. It's kind of be lucky enough to come across and land on one as opposed to them moving to your bait, in my eyes anyway. So you don't need massive baits to try and draw those fish. You just need to try and put it in the right place, which is in that clay, and then hopefully we'll land on one. So because that tie's not running yet, what I want to do is obviously tighten that tip over. The nice thing with codling is generally when you get a bite, it's a slack liner. So we're not looking for like little indications or anything like that. You can wind the tip over. Obviously when a tide gets running, it'll do that itself. But where we're fishing over low water, we've got a little bit of a run to where the water is itself. You want to make sure you maintain that tight line just so it doesn't get buried. I'll get something. I'm 1-0, 2-0 down at the moment, I think. Oh my luck, it's a dog. Or a strap. Remember, if there's a bit of a swell and you've got a bit of weight on there, just under your drag a touch, because you might have to follow the wave back rather than pull the hook out of the fish. Come on! Only just hooked, little babby. I got it as well. Finally got one. That's all right. We're 1-0 at the moment. Yeah, really cool to see that. It did pop off as it was coming up, so we both kind of ended up with wet feet. But you can't go fishing without getting wet. I think that I've been the same ever since I was a kid. So we'll pop this one back anyway. So yeah, result. Hopefully it's the start of 1 or 2 coming through now. Just be careful on Chesil, obviously when it's like this. Right, time to wind in. These for me are really important, especially even when you're pleasure fishing, more so when obviously when we're match fishing, because you're trying to be as efficient as you can. But you know, that still counts with the pleasure fishing really. I want to leave my baits out at a day, say 15-18 minutes. And it's too easy to sit down, yapping, going on your phone, and before you know it, your bait's been out there sort of 40 minutes. So it's, yeah, just like Asda, places like that, you can get them on Amazon for about £2. So yeah, give them a go. And they just help maintain that efficiency, I think. I reckon it's an eel because it's kicking a bit. Both rods slack lines at the same time then, but you never know. It's kicking a bit. Only size 2s again. I'm thinking it's an eel. Let's try and stay positive. Come on, be a codlin. Get a bit. Wave a bit. Oh, it's alright, nice and steady. Nice better one, mate. Lovely. A little fault back. Yes, mate. Yes. Not bad. Little large. So yeah, finally got a half sensible one. Probably about £4. Might go a touch more than that. It's in pretty good condition. So give me the proper cod experience. Good slack liner. Good nod on when I hit into it. I say I thought it was an eel to be fair, but yeah, chuffed. Brilliant. Big sole. Another little one, but yeah, taking a while to get that one, but nice to see a slack liner. So yeah, all good. Hopefully they'll keep coming because we've still got a little bit of tide left. So yeah, fingers crossed for a big one. Good stuff. Literally just about to wind it in. Last cast and on a slack liner, so nice way to finish. But yeah, this one's definitely going back. But yeah, they're lovely fish. It's quite unusual on Chesil to see this many smaller ones, which I think is a good sign really. So they're in good condition as well. The ones that I gutted earlier had loads of crab in them, and you can feel the crab in that one as well. So they're obviously eating well, a bit like me. But yeah, good way to finish. Alright, that's just about it for me. We've had a great session really. Not loads of fish, but we got what we came for. Yeah, it's been good. Like I say, we've lost the tide, so slack water. I'm not hanging around another couple of hours for it to start going, but it's been good. I kind of came away from the pulleys a little bit just because it's a little bit scratchy, and I think that's a good tip for if it's not fishing brilliant and you're not getting bites that often, then sometimes just fishing 2 or 3 hooks, slightly smaller baits, maybe get a bit of distance. It's, you know, just don't keep doing the same thing all the time. If it's not happening, don't be afraid to try something different. So, but yeah, fingers crossed we'll get out again and we'll get some more.